Welcome to Michigan in Focus. I'm Scott McClallen, a reporter for the Center Square. Joining me today is the Center Square's managing editor, Tom Gantert. So since 1967, the Freedom of Information Act has been a key weapon for journalists to expose what government agencies can't or won't disclose to the public. But what I hear, Tom, is that it's not that easy. You can't just request records and get them necessarily. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I've been doing FOIA for 12 years, 13 years now, actually. There's a lot of different elements to Freedom of Information Act that apply to Michigan and overall. Start with it begins with what is the belief in transparency and cooperation of the government entity. I find there's a lot of government entities that believe in transparency and act in accordingly. So if you put in Michigan, if you put a Freedom of Information Act in, the organization, the government entity has 5 days to respond, and then it has 10 extra days, business days, to extend it. Okay. And then they have to make a good faith effort to get you the information. Now, the law, in my experience, the law in Michigan is very problematic because, first of all, they don't have to give you the information in any specific timeline. Okay. It can take 6 months. It can take 8 months. I've had instances where I've waited, over a year for the information. And there's no law that says in the FOIA law, it does not say they have to give it over a certain amount of time. They have to respond in 5 days and then ask for a request. We'll get 10 more business days. They don't have to give you the information, even if you paid for it. Okay.
Wow. So you can pay for the request, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'll get the documents within a specific amount of time. Is that right?
Yes, that's happened to me several times. Okay. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's a lot of obstacles in the FOIA law that I find very problematic. And one of them is the story that you talked about is the fee, $16,537. That's a big middle finger to people who are searching for information. Most government entities, though, will work with you. So there's a couple things going on here. Okay, the first is if you ask for a lot of information or you ask for things and the question isn't tailored in the most precise manner, you can often end up with very large FOIA fees. I got a school district that, sometimes it's over $500,000. That's because a couple reasons. Okay. The first reason is they didn't tailor their request in a very specific format. So what ended up happening was they said, we want all FOIAs on this, on any word that says critical race theory. And so anytime there was a word critical race and theory in a school district with 20,000 people, you ended up getting this enormous response. And they said, guess what? It's going to cost you $400,000 if you want this back. So obviously that's not going to happen. Okay. But what's gone on now in Michigan is the amount of money they can charge you for their effort. And what the Michigan law now says is that you not only can you charge them an hourly rate for the employee doing it, and it has to be someone who's at the lowest end of the thing, but in government sector, it doesn't really make a difference. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a fairly high fee. And the second thing is they now can add on 50% of fringe benefit costs. So health insurance and all that other stuff that goes into it. So that adds to the cost. Now, here's the other thing that's kind of interesting now that's been thrown into the FOIA. And that is, what are the entities allowed to redact? So a simple request that you can put in, if the government entity doesn't want to be transparent, they can say, well, we have to run all our requests through an attorney. And now we can charge the attorney's cost to go through and see what needs to be redacted. Something as simple as gross salaries. And he had to review it to make sure there's nothing to be redacted. Therefore, we can take on that charge and half of his fringe benefit costs. And so you get into the aspect of you're paying for, what's allowed in the FOIA and what has to be redacted. And that's what gets to be, expensive.
And this is all for documents that are public record. Is that right?
Right. We're all talking public record, but, it does take them time. So what I found is almost on a case-to-case basis, you have to judge the school district. There's a lot of municipalities in Michigan that I've worked with that are very good. They get you the information. They don't charge you anything. And then you get what happened to me with the Michigan Attorney General's office. And that is, a lot of government, salaries are the biggest requested thing. And a lot of government, agencies now are posting that stuff online. City of Los Angeles posted salaries online. San Antonio does that. City of Boston does that. State of Utah does that. State of Washington posts salaries online. So you don't even have to put a FOIA request in. It's such a popular request. They said, here, it's right here. You can go on this website and download it. And we do that. I put in salary requests, gross salaries for Michigan Attorney General office. And they came back with a bill for $117. That's not an outrageous fee. That's probably what it really truly costs them to get it. But my point to them was that if you really want to be transparent, and Attorney General Dana Nessel has made that part of her platform when she ran, that she wants to be transparent, then there shouldn't be a fee at all, because this is information that personally I put in hundreds of requests for just in the last year, that we got the information at no cost. Here's why. Okay, I was an Ann Arbor News reporter, and we're going back to 2008, 15 years ago. The CFO at that time was a person called Tom Crawford. And I put a FOIA in for their salaries. We did it every year. And he pulled me back to his desk, and I sat at his computer. And he called me up on his computer, and he showed me the computer program. They had all their financial information. It took him less than 30 seconds to get the information I needed in the manner I wanted it. He was able to hit a button, sort it, blah, blah, blah. How do you want it? Do you want W-2s, blah, blah, blah. And it was all done in a matter of minutes. Okay, that was 2008. I'd have to believe in 2023, it's gotten easier to get that information. And the Michigan Attorney General's office, to their benefit, gave me the financial information I wanted for free. They did not charge me. But one of the responses they gave to me was that we have 500 employees. It takes time to get that information. And my response to them was, is it not on a computer program? It's like, it doesn't really matter. If you go to the City of New York website, they have the salaries of all their employees. It's such a big file that you have to break it down by, you can't just get the last 5 years. You got to get it each year, because it'll break Excel. But they post it all online, and they don't charge you. But, they have like 40,000 employees. It doesn't take long to export a program of salary information, whether it's 500 or 40,000. It's just a matter of minutes, most. So the idea that, that the number of people is a reason for an increased cost didn't really make much sense to me. But so when you look at all these things that are going on, if you do FOIA, you have to do a couple things. One, you have to make sure that you're not asking for a lot of information, possibly. So you just say, I want all documents, all emails from all employees. And it's just like, then you're asking for a $400,000 bill. What I do is I say, I'm looking for these documents, these emails from these two people.
And do you give a time frame as well?
Yeah. And I find if you go more than a month, you're looking for trouble. So if you just say, what I try and find out is, okay, this person was fired. We want to know what went on. I want to know when this person, the first news story, and I go a month before that, and then go from there. I want to tell you a story about I did on the FBI in terms of what I was trying to do and getting information from the FBI. Now, it's not Michigan related, but it talks about government that wants to be transparent and those that do not. I've never seen in my life an organization that was more hostile to the spirit of FOIA than the FBI. So I put in a request for one person, and this was a response to Donald Trump's home being raided in Florida. And so I put in, what I said was I wanted the FBI director's emails that contained the word Trump over a 4-month period. And I chose a 4-month period because I knew when his house was raided, and I wanted the 4 months before then to see if, how much the planning was for that. Their response was that to get me the information would take them 6.5 years. And if I wanted to, I could lower or be more precise in the time period and just go for like 2 weeks, in which case they could get me the information in 77 months.
Oh, wow.
The quickest I could have gotten it was 35 months. The most was 77 months. So the time frame there was like, hey, we'll work with you and we'll get you this information in 35 months.
At that point, is it still a story? Does anyone care?
This guy is 3 years old.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait 3 years for this information.
Listeners can keep up with the story and more at thecentersquare.com. Thanks for listening.